Today we have with us Jackie from Sought and Found Boutique, which is the cutest Christian store here in Meridian, Idaho. Say hi, Jackie.
Hi guys, so happy to be here.
Happy to have you. I stumbled across Sought and Found Boutique randomly one night when my husband and I were walking, and I quickly went back the next day to check it out and fell in love with the store and Jackie's story. It was so inspiring to hear how God worked in her life and led her and her best friend Brooke to launching Sought and Found. Can't wait for you guys to hear the full story, but first we're going to start with a little basics. Jackie, can you tell us about yourself and 3 random facts?
Yeah, I am a single mama, which I usually start that off because it's just the proudest thing I am. I love my babies. I love being a mama. And it's just kind of the foundation of just all my motivation. So I'm a single mom of 3 and a jack of all trades. I have done so many things in my life just by the grace of God and different career paths, and just have had a lot of fun in my career, and just absolutely love serving the Lord and just bringing more people to his kingdom and to know how much Jesus loves them. And my 3 random facts. And I'm from Washington State originally and have moved to Boise, Idaho over 6 years ago. So it just was a place that was calling me home. So I'm so happy to be here and be a part of the community now. And my 3 random facts. My very first one, and probably like the best blessing from the Lord, is that I always find front row parking spots. It just never fails. Crunch. Anytime. Christmas at Walmart, I'm always finding front row spots, and I feel like it's God's special gift to me. So, that's my first fact. I always love using that one. I feel like I'm a baby whisperer. I swear I could get any baby to stop crying and fall asleep. I just haven't failed once at it. So I pride myself on that, and I love jazz. I love all types of jazz. Going to jazz shows, that's like one of my favorite things to do.
So. Oh, that's so fun. Can you tell us a little bit about your business? What is it that you do for the audience?
Yeah, so my bestie business partner, Brooke, and I own a faith-based gift and clothing boutique in the heart of downtown Meridian. We just have we have clothing, we have Bibles, we have Bible studies, we have a bunch of inspirational gifts. So we wanted to create a space where you could go not only for yourself to find inspiration and the Lord, but we knew that a lot of people want to give gifts of encouragement and, for themselves and for others, and just wanted to create a place where you could do that.
Yeah, it's super cute. I would buy everything in there. Okay, now for the big question. This is the one that really touched my heart. Is can you share your journey in launching and what made you pursue this dream?
Yes. So as a single mom, I have always struggled and, just to make ends meet, or just to kind of have that overage that we all want to have in a savings. And so I've always had a multiple of side hustles. And over the last year and a half, previous year and a half, I owned and opened a vintage and thrift online boutique through Instagram. And then through the course of that, was able to join a local business and have my clothing in their shop. And that time was coming to an end, and just was kept praying and praying about what God had next for me. And for this gift of thrift and, just shopping for people. And it was so successful. And just, I knew that he was providing me financially, but I feel like any special gift and, God gives us is to further his kingdom ultimately. And so I just kept praying, like, how can I serve you more through this? This is something so, frivolous, I feel. And, yes, I know that you'll always provide for us financially, and then also through, our spiritual gifts and our works. But how can this work for your kingdom? And how can I do more for your kingdom? And through this vintage business, I realized I was connecting with so many people in the community, believers and non-believers, and just being able to share love with them, comfort, connection. And I just felt in that moment where I had kind of summarize all the things that he had been doing over the last year with this small little business that I had, it was a lot about community, and it was just about joy. And it was how just by being available to people, that I was able to just further his kingdom of love and the knowledge of him. And I can't even count how many conversations I've had with people in the community that had the same goal and the same focus of furthering the kingdom and helping others. And there wasn't a bigger place of purpose that I felt in this world, except for that one day that I was at this little shop connecting with people. And I realized that the Lord, it was the one time I probably, as a busy single mom, was ever in one spot, and wasn't moving. And I couldn't tell you all the people that God would bring me, for myself and for me, for others. And I was like, we need to do this all the time. And I had, in an instant, I felt like, okay, maybe I can open my own shop. Again, I'm a single mom. And I was like, there's no way this can happen. There's no way that this will happen. But if I know anything is possible with God. And who am I to limit what he can do in my life, no matter what my life looks like? So I started looking up spaces. I started dreaming, and I started just envisioning what this could be, what it would be. I knew I wanted it to be faith-based. I wanted it to be loud. I didn't want it to be something that was, vintage with a couple things, or thrift clothing and like a cool boutique with a couple things. I wanted it to be him, and then everything else, that you can have God be the focus of your business, and then also, have the fun things around it just to draw everybody in. Same day, Brooke walks into the shop. And it's like, what are you doing today? And it'd be far and few between that she would come to visit. And I just was like, I feel like God's calling me to open up a shop. And we were like, let's do it. Literally that same day, she was like, let's do it. Told me the story about how she had planned to do this shop. And Brooke and I met through church, through a small group. We didn't even know each other. We did it through Zoom. And knowing Brooke now, just you would never shown up to my small group. I had this idea of doing a 6 a.m. small group, and she showed up. So to really kind of bunch it all together, or to summarize, our relationship was really intense, really God focused. We knew the most deepest intricacies of our lives because of this small group, because of growing in friendship through Christ first. It just opened up a whole nother world to each other, and trust and love and care. And we wanted to extend that friendship to the community. So when she said, let's do it, I've been wanting to do a shop. I'm like, what? Let's do it. And so that's kind of how it started. And the rest is history. Literally, the Lord took it from there. I did a little research on what was available to the community as far as resources and Bibles and studies and gifts. And there was literally maybe one other store within a 20-mile radius that had actual Bibles besides Barnes and Noble and Costco, in a way, in an intentional, beautiful way. And so we're just it's needed. And God just confirmed things step by step, opened doors to the shop, literally where we wanted to go, which was right across the street. That there's usually never any space available. Same day we go looking for the space. And I wasn't hopeful. I was like, oh, we might need to move further into Boise and not stay in where we were. And that same day, Brooke went down the street, and sure enough, there was a place that was wide open, and everything was just so wrapped up in a bow, and with so much support and love and faith and encouragement and grace through the time that it took us to open. We couldn't have asked for a better spot, community, landlord, just from just city hall people, chamber people. It's been the most amazing community to be a part of, and
that's incredible.
Blown away every day. Yeah.
Yeah. And how long did it take you from that time she walked into the store, you guys made a decision you're gonna open this? How long did it take you from there to launch day?
We opened in 3 months, which was later than we thought we were going to do.
Wow. Yeah. 3 months, which blows my mind.
We had a plan to open in about a month Yeah. Yeah.
And it all like fell together. Lease included, space included, design included.
Yeah.
It's just remarkable what God can do when you're called to it.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that story. That story really inspired me and really got me to like get back into gear and pursue our own business. So I really appreciated that. But we know it's not all good. So the next question is, what are some challenges you experienced during your business and how did God play a role during the hard times?
We had so many storms hit us, like over and over and over again. And if it wasn't, I mean, it just comes down to faith. If it wasn't for faith and God's he's had his hand in so much of my life and so much of Brooke's life, I think, so heavily that we were so used to it and we were bracing for it. We knew that attacks happened. We knew that, we needed to be ready, and we needed to be ready to pray, and we needed to be in constant prayer, and we needed to have a mindset that was above a regular business plan. Like, this is God's business plan. And so when we wanted to start feeling fearful or start feeling weary, that it was above us. Like we didn't even have to take it in. So even though it was happening to us in this world and in this physical body, whether it was illness, which happened all the time, whether it was just, blows in all directions, work, family, just life all over the place. I can't even tell you how many times we would be like, what is happening? We can't catch a break. But we already had a posture going into this that was like mighty. It was God protected. So that when we allowed ourselves to get really low and then able to pray over each other and to take a moment, we weren't pushed to get things done on time or get it done fast or worry about money or to worry about what this was going to look like if we had to push out the date or what this was going to do for us, like financially, or, were we missing out on sales? Were we missing out on this holiday? Were we missing out on this? We talked about it, but then we gave it to God. And it just shifted our mindset when it came to running a business, a God-led business, a faith-based business, that it's really just God's business plan. It's not ours. We are really just the stewards to carry out this plan. And with all the things that hit us, it allowed us, which I think a lot of business owners don't really get the grace or give the grace to themselves to take time for their family, to take time to heal, to rest, to do all those things. But understanding God's love for us help us to take beats where we needed it, to get rest where we needed it, to stop when we needed to, and then go when we were ready to. We were prayed up and ready to go again. It's just different than what you hear a lot in other business suggestions and other business. It's
top
different.
10 tips too. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, there's definitely a tenacity that you need to hit and a motivation that you need to always have. But it really opened up our eyes and our hearts to letting God work not only in us during this time, but in our business and the way that we became business women. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's an amazing perspective. And that's really the only way you keep going when everything, things just fall apart.
Yeah.
In business and in personal, over and over again. It's hard to keep going.
Yeah.
Which is great that we have someone we can lean on for that.
Right. And it's always
I really like how...
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I really like how you said, it's not really our business. We're stewards of it, of God's business, which kind of takes all that pressure away and that fear of am I going to fail in this business? Am I going to succeed? Well, it's not up to us for that. We just continue to work hard and do a good job and love the people we interact with. And then it happens if it's God's plan, or it doesn't happen.
Right.
So
it's the best trust fall like
Yeah.
something exciting. I think I always equate it up to skydiving or something, like you're equipped everything to succeed, and you're going to be up against that fear and like the fear of falling. But without it, like if you don't take that leap, like you'll never experience like how big God's love is and how much and how much he knows the desires of our heart. Like both Brooke and I, coming from different families in different areas, like we both had a dream our whole lives and had been building up to what this is. And so not only do we get to spread God's love in his word, like his living word to others, but he's like fulfilling a desire that we just thought we would never. It was just like a little girl's dream, like, oh, I'm gonna have my own little shop. Like I get to really, it's a ministry. Like we get to have a ministry, not only in a fruitful or a life-giving way, but just like he's also giving us back. Like I seen you, I've known you, I know what your heart like is made of, I know what you're great at, I know what makes you feel fulfilled and joyful. Here, and have this. And I truly feel, and I know that he has that for all of us, but it takes us to take that risk, to step out for him, not for us and to not for our gain. And when you find that niche that it's really him and you're supporting him and his kingdom, like it'll all come together. Yeah.
That sounds great. That sounds amazing. Okay, well, that was hard. Like we had to do a deep dive in some deep topics, but let's go back a little bit lighter. The next question is, where is your favorite place to work? Are you a home office kind of girl, coffee shop, or?
Oh my gosh, I love a good coffee shop. Like, oh, that is me. If I didn't have a bunch of kids that I had to come home, like, yeah, I worked remote beforehand, so I've had a lot of that time, and I do my best work at a coffee shop. That's how I am. But yeah,
it's always fun. Speaking of family and work, how do you balance your work life with your faith and your family?
Well, I believe in the equipping of God in that when you're working, whether it's your family, the work that's called upon you, your hobbies, serving at church, you have time. You always have time for it. And you have to be really sensitive to the balance that you feel. And so what I allot my time to in my capacity, like within my full capacity, I've gotten to be really sensitive to. So I really make sure that I'm spending quality time in every part that I feel God has called me to. And when I do that, I feel there's a rest that I feel I can sleep well. And that obviously gets me going for the next day. But when I realize that I'm doing because I feel like I have to, or there's an obligation, I get run down really, really fast. And so, I always think about Philippians 4:13, that if it's what I'm supposed to be doing, he will always give me strength and time and rest and the capacity to do it. Sometimes when I'm doing something, I'm like, I can't believe I had enough time to get all this done. But it's like, but I knew that it's something that God's called me to do. But when I'm out and I'm grumbling and I'm like, this shouldn't be what I'm spending my time doing. This is something I did out of obligation or guilt or wanting to be validated or all of those things, that's when everything starts getting off kilter and off balance in the most important spots, like time with the kids and making sure that they're seen and that they're loved and doing a good job at work, doing a good job with the shop, like all those things. It starts wavering when my time commitments get a little off balance. Yeah.
That's a really good point. It's hard to, schedule wise, there's always like a million things going on, but you're right. If your attitude is right, you're starting the day with God, like everything's going to be easier, more enjoyable, and you're not going to be resentful and all those things. So I honestly, when I saw this question, I was like, there's no way to balance everything. So that's my thought. But That's a really good point. And like, if your attitude is right and you trust God in it, then
Yeah,
you can do it and you can enjoy it while you're doing it.
that's so true.
So, up next is, can you share something that's been on your heart lately?
Yeah, it's letting go. And I think I talk about this all the time. In this season of my life, um, I'm about to be 40. I'm turning 39, so I still have another year. But I'm kind of in that mid space where I've lived a lot of life. I've got a lot ahead of me. I've got kiddos, I've got teenagers, I have a lot that I've done. And I realized that the most joyful that I've been is when I let go of what I wanted and what I thought, and I let God in all those spaces. So the career that I wanted to have, the mother that I thought I was going to be, the kids, the outcome of the character of my children, the businesses, the intentions, the where I thought I'd be right now. I realized that that's just it is taking space away from the joy of what God has done and will do. And um, yeah, I've just been in prayer to let God seep into all the places of the things that I want, like who I want to be and what I have wanted, and or the things that I've failed at, or when I look back, and just let him replace them or replace those feelings and thoughts, and with himself and with his love, and just that constant knowing that his plan is so much better than mine. And to kind of, that's this next half of life for me, to be so, to let that be kind of my motto. It's just like, I'm not going to try to do what God is supposed to do. And I think especially this has been so apparent in parenting, because I think I work with babies on the outside too. I work with newborn and maternity photography. And so I have a lot of these babies that I'm holding at 6 days old. And as I'm raising a 17-year-old, I realize how much letting go I've had to do. My idea of when they were 5 days old of what this was going to be like, who I was going to be, who they were going to be, what our life was going to be, it is a world's different of what it ended up being. And so to understand that all the things that you could do would never equate to the true plan that God has. And I'm just so much happier that he has me. I'm so much happier that his plan is the plan above my plan. I'm so grateful because I couldn't have done this any better for myself. What he has done, the lessons that he has shown me, the wisdom that he's given me through the trials, and continues to show me through my children in the way that they're living their lives and how I need to be for them. And it's all him. It all comes down to his word and who he wants us to be and his calling in our lives. So that's been on my heart.
That's great.
A lot.
More trust falling.
Oh, so much more trust falling. That's all it is. I'm the risk taker, so it's fun for me. I'm like, ooh, are you going to do it? I trust you because you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to trust you and I'm going to do it.
That's great. Oh, I can't believe we're down to our last question. Time went so fast. It's been so fun. I'm so thankful that you've been on this podcast with me as our first episode ever. I hope this continues.
So excited for it. I hope you have us back as things change and move.
Yeah. And the last question is, what is your favorite verse and why? A simple question, but really it's a deep one.
And it's Psalm 139. It's the Bible verse that's open at the front of the shop. We have an old vintage Bible. And I think when I first heard it, I think in the season of my life, it covered me like a warm blanket, and I refuse. It's like my blankie, scripture. It covers everything for me. It's the whole, it's the whole verse. But it just, for me, it just gives me a beginning and an end. Like, I already know. It gives me that, he knew me before my mom knew me. He knew me before this world knew me, and he knit me together with complete purpose and a plan. And even in just that, every day that I wake up, that plan is not done. Every day that I wake up and I am afforded the opportunity to be a part of this community is a chance for me to like share his love. And that whenever I go through difficult times, whenever I go through just times of unknowing and waiting and all those things, it really feels as if it's him carrying a baby. Like if we're the baby and he's like holding us, he's like, I already know what you have ahead of you. And at this time, if you're scared, if you're worried, if you're lonely, if you're questioning me, if you're questioning my plan and my purpose for you, like I've got you. Like I read it every day and it reminds me, it snaps me out of the world and what the world's worries can put on us, bills, and how are we going to do this? And how am I going to do this? I'm like, oh, he already knows. And there's so many other scriptures, but I think the way it's just kind of a cry out. It's a cry out of knowing, like you already know. So yeah, that's why it's my favorite.
Well, that's a perfect way to end it. And I hope that really encourages everyone to pursue their own callings in their lives and just fall down. Just go for it. You know that God will catch you. Well, thank you so much for being here, Jackie. Hope to see you. Well, we'll obviously see you again.
We'll see each other soon.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure.
Bye. How do you end it? Peace out.